For years, the debate has echoed. America wants Greenland, but Greenland prefers Denmark. That's the story repeated across headlines, interviews, and European media. But what if that story is wrong? What if the truth, buried beneath decades of silence, reveals a very different reality? A reality Denmark and Europe would rather the world never sees. This is not speculation. These are facts, and today we uncover them. Greenland, a beautiful icy land with gentle Inuit people. But behind that beauty are historical wounds from how Denmark treated the indigenous people. Wounds that the Greenlanders say, they have stolen our future. Let's take a look at how the Danes treated the Greenlanders through the following two stories. 1. How Denmark treats the people of Greenland. First story, the contraceptive IUD scandal. Forced contraception scandal. According to MSN News, in the 1960s to 1970s, thousands of Greenlandic girls and women were forced to have intrauterine devices, IUDs, inserted without their consent. Many were only 13 years old. They were taken to the clinic, signed papers in Danish that they did not understand, then immediately had an IUD inserted. No explanation, no consent, no choice. Victim's testimony. One of the victims is Amarok Peterson. She discovered at the age of 27 that she could not have children because she had been fitted with an intrauterine device since she was 13, without her knowledge. In an interview with MSN, Amarok said, "They stole our future." Amarok Peterson said that even now, she still has to endure prolonged pain. She has undergone many surgeries, and only after many years did doctors reveal that her fallopian tubes had been removed, a consequence of having an illegal IUD inserted when she was just 13 years old. According to MSN, this was part of Denmark's population control policy at the time, aimed at limiting the growth of the indigenous Inuit people.
Nowadays, many Greenlandic women have been using intrauterine devices for 50 years without knowing it. They are demanding investigation, apologies, and compensation, preventing the growth of a people. Could this be an international crime? Source: MSN News. Denmark's dark history with Greenland and the women who cannot forget. The second story, the child kidnapping scandal. The child kidnapping scandal. But that is not the only wound. Greenland also carries another painful memory. The child kidnapping scandal. The scandal involved kidnapping Inuit children and sending them to Denmark. In 1951, more than 20 Inuit children were taken from their families and brought to Denmark to be raised as new Danes. They were cut off from their language, culture, and Inuit identity. Many grew up not knowing who they were, no family to return to. One victim said, "We were turned into test subjects." An apology cannot restore what has been lost. Denmark later had to apologize, but for the Greenlanders, the apology cannot erase the loss. As the saying goes, wounds may heal, but scars remain.
What do you think here? Does Greenland want to stay with Denmark or return to the US? Please comment below. Maybe you need more data to answer. Stay tuned for the next part. Two, is Greenland an economic burden for Denmark? And what do Greenlanders think about this? Few people know that to maintain Greenland, Denmark has to spend nearly 4 billion kroner each year, equivalent to more than $500 million US. This amount accounts for about a quarter of Greenland's GDP, and that is only the direct subsidy. If you include healthcare, education, infrastructure, transportation, and defense in the harsh Arctic region, the actual costs are much higher. The first issue, is Denmark strong enough to support Greenland? Yes. Denmark is one of the richest countries in Europe, very high per capita income, social welfare among the best in the world, stable, abundant economy, strong budget, low public debt. In theory, Denmark is fully capable of supporting Greenland. But the issue is not whether they have enough money. The issue is whether they want to continue spending money or not. 2. Is Greenland an economic burden? According to official data, Denmark subsidizes 3.9 billion kroner annually, equivalent to 550 to 600 million US dollars, accounting for 20 to 25% of Greenland's GDP. This is only direct subsidies, including healthcare, education, cold transportation to the Arctic, infrastructure, defense, administration. The actual cost amounts to billions of US dollars each year. Greenland is as large as Western Europe, but has only 56,000 residents. Everything is expensive, difficult to operate, and hard to maintain. Economically, Greenland is indeed a significant burden for Denmark. 3. The story of Greenland fish, an unfair story that makes people angry and think further. In interviews published on MSN and the New York Post, many Greenlanders said they catch the fish themselves, but Denmark buys them at extremely low prices, then processes, packages, exports, and sells them worldwide at prices 10 to 20 times higher. One Greenlander said something very heavy: "We create the resources, but the biggest profits do not stay in Greenland." For them, this is not just about the price of fish, it is the feeling of being exploited, being treated unfairly, the real value being taken away, and being forced to depend on a system controlled by Denmark. From the story about fish, let's ask a bigger question. So when exploiting the huge mineral deposits on this land, do the indigenous people benefit fairly? Snowflake 4. What do Greenlanders think about being considered a burden? They feel looked down upon, treated like children, dependent on subsidies, deprived of self-determination, exploited for their resources, trapped in a system they did not choose. A Greenlander said in an article on MSN, "Denmark has stolen our future." This is not a statement about the past. It is a statement about the present. Economy, defense, geopolitics, why Greenland has become a hotspot. Economically, Denmark is a wealthy country capable of supporting Greenland. But the paradox is that Greenland is the most expensive region in the entire Kingdom of Denmark. Every year, Copenhagen has to spend nearly 4 billion kroner to maintain public services, infrastructure, and welfare there. Meanwhile, the resources that Greenlanders directly produce, such as fish, are bought at low prices, then processed, packaged, and sold by Denmark to the world at prices many times higher. For some Danes, Greenland is a budget burden. For Greenlanders, it is decades of injustice.
During World War II, Denmark surrendered to Nazi Germany. It was the United States that defeated the Nazis, protected Greenland, and later handed administrative control back to Denmark. And if Greenland holds critical strategic value for U.S. security, from Arctic defense to missile detection and countering Russia and China, then a serious question must be asked. Should a small country that receives heavy Chinese investment and increasingly shows a soft attitude toward Beijing continue to control Greenland? For decades, the United States has spent enormous resources defending Europe. Yet when America raises concerns about Greenland for its own national security, Europe and Denmark immediately oppose it. So we must ask, is that how a truly reliable ally behaves toward the United States? A true ally cannot depend on America for protection while opposing America when its security is at stake.